Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Radash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Okay, I just wanted to go into this video that I had seen earlier today. On the YouTube handle page, Antoine Daniels. And the title of the video is, "My male friend is making me trade sex for not being homeless. Single mother can't turn on lights." Right, and as I'm gonna play the video too, but as you listen to a story, some of the things doesn't really make sense. And I was going through some of the comments and some of the comment sections that, in the comment section, and some of the things they were saying in the comment section actually made sense. But, you ain't going to ever really truly hear the full story and know the full story. But just going off of what she said, it sounds to me like you was in a desperate situation. And first and foremost, we got to get one thing straight. There is no such thing as man and woman being friends. That can never happen. That's never the case. A man and a woman cannot be friends. And I don't know why these women always think that they have friend guys, or think that they can friend zone some man and use them for whenever they need some type of male support or whatever the case may be. Because some way, shape, form, or another, one or the other is gonna be attracted to the other, even if they're not attractive. It's gonna get to the point to where somebody wants to do something with the other person, or take it further with the other person. And and the Lord just never made man and woman to be like it for the noise. The Lord never made man and woman to just be friends. Like that was not the intention. Men and women are not to be friends. That's why. Because you think about it, that's why the Lord even tells us not to deal with another man's wife, not to get close to another man's wife, not to even sit at a bar or nothing, because anything can happen. You can say that that's been your childhood friend such and such. It don't matter. And you can say that you never done anything with this person. It don't matter. Or you can say, well, we don't look at each other like that. We like brothers and sisters. It don't matter. The scriptures strictly speak against that. Which I get that first. This is Sirach chapter 9 and 9. Matter of fact, I started at 8. It says, "Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. But many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire," going into that passion. It says, "Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline to her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction." Right, so it says, sit not at all with another man's wife. It's strictly telling you, do not deal with another man's wife. We're not supposed to do nothing like that. There is no such thing as man and woman being friends. The Bible strictly speaks against that. All throughout the Bible, not even just in this scripture itself, all throughout the Bible. And as a matter of fact, let's get that in. Let's see, Sirach 9 and 9. Oh, well, I didn't even put the GNT. It says, "Don't sit down to eat with another man's wife, or join her for a drink. You may give in to the temptation of her charms and be destroyed by your passion." Right? So it's telling you, both in plain, KJV was plain, it don't matter. It's telling you not to sit at all with another man's wife. So anyways, there is no such thing as men and women being friends. But like she said, her male friend is making her trade sex for not being homeless. Don't know the situation of how she became homeless or whatever the case may be, and whatever the case may be, it don't matter. But a lot of women are finna find out the hard way. You need a man. And this man, whatever the situation is, you accepted the deal. You know? You accepted that. Now you getting on social media crying, if it's even true. You getting on social media crying about the whole situation and crying about he's making you trade that. You know, which I get more dialogue after I play the video. So without further ado, fair use, fair use, fair use. I'm not using your content to make any type of monetary gain or anything of that nature. This is strictly for educational purpose. Fair use, fair use. Again, I'm not making any money off of this content. Lord, will you edified?
It's just like, I'm not the type of person that feels sorry for myself, but I'm just, every time I look at my son, I just cry because it's just no way. There's no way I put us in this position. Like, it's just no way, and I did. It is just like, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's like, yeah, I might be at someone else's house, but who wants to know how long this is gonna last? Like, all of our stuff is in the storage. I can't even get my soap, toothbrush, toys for my son to play with. Like, nothing. And he just laughs it off. Every time he just laughs it off. Oh, y'all don't need that right now. And don't use lights and water. And before he left, he's like, respect my house. You don't have to tell me these things. I already know that you're doing me a favor, so I'm going to do that. And it's just like, before we got here at his house yesterday, you know, he let me know, all you got to do is cook clean and, you know, and have sex occasionally. I've been friends with you over 15 years, best friends with you. I've never had sex with you. Why would I do that now? That was before I came here. Laughed it off, brushed it off, but it's literally just a different story now. Now it's to the point where we're literally in the dark. He told me don't open any blinds to let any light through because the leasing office is right here. Be mindful of the water. We have to take a bath. I have to brush my teeth. I'm always gonna be mindful of that. Before he left out to go to work, I'm about to go to work. You know, respect my place. Don't open the blinds. Don't go outside. Like I said, I'm in here with a 2-year-old. So that is hard. It's very, very hard.
Yo, this is...
So, like I said, we don't know the reality of it because he said something about the leasing office, and then she said respect his place, which it don't make sense. But if that's the case of, you know, having somebody else living with him, he can do that. You know, he can bring somebody else. They ain't got to be on the lease. Or, you know, the leasing office don't have to know your business or what you got going on. Most, you know, complex, at least down here, they're not finna monitor who all in your place or whatever like that. But for whatever reason, whatever case you said, don't use lights, water. Like I said, I don't know the story, don't understand it. You know, like I said, going through the comment section, you see a lot of different comments of people making different observations and different points. But the one thing that a lot of people have said, and I'm pretty sure it's all males, they have said that he told you what he would do, you know, what he could help you out with and the conditions of it, and you accepted it. And now you getting on social media crying about it and making some sob story about it. Like, that's nothing to cry about. You accepted that. And at the end of the day, you still have a roof over your head, you know, and your son still has somewhere to, you know, lay down safe. You still safe and protected. But that's not the point of, you know, the video that I'm trying to make. The point is, these women are finding, especially these single women, are finding, they're about to find out the hardest that these choices, these life choices that they made is backfiring. You know, especially when it comes to the whole friend zone, the men that you should have been with, or the men you should have been pursuing to make the child the father of your child and to make you a husband and you be a faithful wife unto him. Those are the men now that you're trying to turn to and ask for help, or just hope that they would step up and take care of all your bad decisions or all your failures that you made in your life, bad decisions, things that you failed in, areas you failed in, you weakened, whatever the case may be. Clean up your life. And then when certain conditions come up, now it's a problem, it's an issue, And man he basically told you, look, if you you want me to help you out of your situation, you got to be a wife. And any man would say the same thing. If he taking in a woman, it don't matter if he knew her or if it's someone he's willing to take a chance on. He's gonna give her the same condition. Look, you gotta cook, you gotta clean, you gonna be, because she didn't say nothing about her working a job. She just said that she's homeless and she got a 2-year-old. She ain't said nothing about she gotta take her son to daycare or she has to go to work, this, that, and the third. He told her, look, you gotta cook, you gotta clean, and you gotta have sex. He's basically telling her, look, you gotta be a wife. And that's what most women, they always talk about. They want to get married. They want to do this. They want to do that. But then you start giving them the conditions, especially when they in a desperate situation. They looking at you sideways, looking at you crazy. But when the whole world, or I say when Babylon the Great, when that's become the norm for women to not be able to sustain themselves because the government has cut them off, basically. And now they have to rely on the man. It's not going to be like that. That's why Isaiah 4:1 say what it say. We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Look, we're going to take care of ourselves in those areas. But look, we want your protection. We want your stability. We want to be with you. We want to be your wives. We want to serve you. And the conditions that you come with is strict. They going to buy with whatever you tell them to do. Of course, we're going to be righteous, So it ain't like we're going to be telling them to do anything wicked, but whatever you tell them to do, they going to do it. And that's how it's supposed to be. A woman is supposed to do whatever you tell her to do. Because for one, you are the head. The man is the head. The woman is under the man. She's supposed to be submissive and subjective or subject unto you. Secondly, you are the leader. Anybody that's a leader is going to have followers. His family is supposed to follow his lead as a man. And even though this woman, she quote unquote call him her friend and everything, you under this man's guide, you under him. You went to him, or however it may have happened. It sounds like you went to him and asked him for help, and he's helping you. But this is the conditions of the help, And I'll just get some of the comments. It said, the first one, it said that male best friend about to collect from 15 years of being friend zone. Somebody said this is a sequel. What's missing is the story of how she burned every bridge with her entire family, father of her child, and other friends to have absolutely nowhere else to go. I honestly don't like to make light of anyone in that situation. I hope that she can find a way out. But she's currently burning her last bridge by putting the man she's living with on blast to the internet, which I don't know how true that is or not. Somebody said she ain't no prisoner. She just need a job. Somebody said traded X for room and board doesn't sound, box for room and board doesn't sound so bad. She was giving it up for free before that. Dude presented her with a deal and she took it. Regardless of how you want to characterize him, she accepted the deal. It says she's homeless, living at a man's house, talking to the internet about her conditions. The man needs to kick her out. So everybody is pretty much on board with the man and saying, like, look, you accepted this. This is the conditions, and then on top of that, he's helping you. Whatever you're doing to get yourself together, the man is providing you a way. You don't have to pay rent. You ain't got to pay for the water, lights. He probably told you not to use it like that because you're not paying for it. The man, I don't know the conditions of the situation, but at the end of the day, a lot of women are finna find themselves in this situation or worse, whether they single or not. Whether they single mothers or not, whether they have children or whether they don't have children, but especially if they do have children, especially if they do have children. But even so, if they don't have children, a lot of women are finna find themselves in this desperate situation where they finna turn to men. In a minute, this world ain't gonna help them. because the men of this world don't have the truth. And the truth is what's going to truth is what's going to keep the men of the Lord stable. This is what's going to be this is going to be a part of the separation between the men of the world and the men of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. That's what's going to be the difference. These women going to turn to the men of this world. The men of the world going to be putting a lot of them to death. Or they all going to, die together. Or a lot of women going to die alone. But the women that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to have paired up with men, they going to come with skill sets and the right mindset as well. See, that woman in that situation, she don't have the right mindset. You in the situation where you got a 2-year-old and you went to a friend for help for whatever reasons why you didn't go to your family or anybody else, all the female friends you claim to have, these women be having these other female friends. For whatever reason, you went to that one guy friend that you said y'all been friends for over 15 years or however long, and then he came with certain conditions. And he's still looking out for you. What's so bad about that? Cooking and cleaning, that's a part of your duty anyway. You got a child, you got to do that anyway. You have a child. You're supposed to be cooking and cleaning anyways. Even for yourself, even if you didn't have a child, you're supposed to do it for yourself. If you're homeless now, obviously you probably had a place for yourself before. And you're supposed to have been doing it for yourself anyway. So for you to do it for a man that you supposed to have known for all these years, that should be nothing. You call him your friend. That would be a friendly thing to do, to cook and clean for somebody you was close to. You said best friend. And then on top of that, the whole sex thing. Again, a lot of these women, they'll go and have sex with all these men and give it up to them, but then somebody that they know that they they got their stuff together, they look at them as friends. So now he added into the mix. In hindsight, I don't know the man or nothing, and honestly, it's up to him. But she should be trying to make that man her man. That would I don't know the conditions with the father, the child father, anything like that. I don't know. But if anything, that would be the right move for her to do. If this is somebody you've been knowing for all these years and they supposed to have had your back, and he having your back now. But nevertheless, the point is, a lot of women are finna find themselves in this condition. Especially having to have sex with the men that they gonna be with. That's gonna be a part of the conditions as well. It's not gonna be no you just stay here, you just, get yourself together, or you stay here, you can cook and clean and then get yourself together and that's it. Nah. A lot of times, that's why if men and women could be friends, men and women could live together without being sexual. That's damn near impossible, especially in this society. Men and women, they can't live. When I say men and women, I mean non-relatives. They can't just live together and not be sexual. It's almost impossible, because once women get comfortable, they come home and get comfortable. They might especially if she got a nice shape or something like that, it's over with. That's why so many, social media influencers or social media comedians or whatever, they make them little skits where it might be a guy and he got a female roommate, and the female roommate, she be fine, and he thought, I forgot some of them names now, but his whole thought process is how he gonna get with her, or when he gonna get with her. But I can't even remember some of their names now. But just going back to the title of the video, my male friend is making me trade sex for not being homeless, and that's even false in itself. It should say my friend is helping me while I get myself together That's really what it should say. Cause now you put sex on trade. You put trade sex on the forefront, like he giving you a place for you to have sex with him. No, he said cook, clean, and have sex. That's basically being a wife. That's a part of it. Being submissive and everything else too. And then he told you to respect his place. So he's helping you out. But the title of it, well, I know he probably put the title of it on there. I don't know if she, I can't remember exactly how she worded it, but regardless, the trade sex for not being homeless, that should never be put on there. Like I said, if this story is true, you putting this man business out there, regardless if the world know who you talking about or not, that's still putting the man's business out there. And you trying to basically put a bad light on the man for saying something like that. Like sex is just so out of place when there's plenty of women out here having sex with all type of guy friends that she have anyway. And I'm pretty sure she one of them. Will have quote unquote guy friends or co-workers that she work with that she supposedly cool with that she done had sex with. So it don't make any sense, And women do things like that. Have co-workers that they cool with or friends or people that they used to work with that they might meet up with or whatever and have sex with. But then when it comes to someone who's actually, the type of man that women should definitely be pursuing, they don't want to keep him in the friend zone, but just in case they need a man to do something, but not want to actually be with the man or not at least want to, make sure he's straight, take care of him. But all of that is coming to an end. And this whole getting on social media, crying and looking for sympathy and sobbing and all that's coming to an end too. Because just like now, don't nobody care. You can see it in the comment section. Don't nobody care. Everybody is saying, look, you chose that. You accepted that. They don't know the conditions of why you in that situation. But they said you accepted that. They holding her accountable. Like, look, you accepted that. So why are you complaining about it? And then on top of that, some people even said that's not a bad deal. They said all you gotta do is cook, clean, and make sure he's taken care of. What's so hard about that? It's not like he said anything about money. Look, pay half of this or pay the light bill, pay this, that, and the third. Cook, clean, and take care of him. That's what a wife's supposed to do. And of course, in this society, the odds are not in our favor. So yeah, you're gonna need that extra financial support. But a lot of men are already living by themselves and taking care of themselves. So the financial support isn't the biggest thing. But it's definitely needed, especially when you add a woman into the mix. And then especially if the woman is bringing extra baggage like children. So yeah, you're gonna need that extra financial support. But for the most part, a lot of women are finna find out the hard way. Men have to, in this society, men been having to take care of themselves and been having to take care of themselves without government assistance this whole time. We had to get it out the mud while women were able to get all this assistance and live easier lives. Now, the assistance is starting to be taken away. And as a matter of fact, let me when does the big beautiful bill go into effect? I know I seen someone told me it was August 1st. I think that's when it okay, so it's different start points. Some say January the 1st. Some just say in 2025. December 31st, 2025. tax cut. So it says under the tax cuts, the highest earner will continue to be taxed at a 37% rate. It's not really what I'm looking for. Tax on tips are over. Social Security. Let me see. Okay, so it says now law, but certain things don't go into effect until later. Expansion of low-income housing tax credit. The law increases allocations for 9% low-income housing tax credit properties by 12% and lowers the private activity bond funding. Okay. It says after December 31st. Okay, the law requires states to implement work requirements for Medicaid and SNAP participants and shifts more administrative and financial responsibility to states. States may also bear a larger share of Medicaid program costs as federal contributions decrease. So yeah, this is one of the things I was looking for. So basically the SNAP benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, and basically like the food stamps. It's basically saying the law requires states to implement work requirements. So people going to have to work. I don't know if it's going to be like a certain amount of hours or how they're going to do it, which it might be under a certain amount of hours, but I'm not entirely for sure. But basically what it's saying is in order for women to receive, because that's the main ones that really are able to get those benefits, and women with children too. But regardless, it's saying that they're going to have to work in order to receive these benefits, whatever stipulations they come with, however they put those laws into motion. And I know it says something about housing too, which is it's going to affect the housings too. People not going to have those vouchers to where rent is slashed or rent is extremely, extremely cheap. So the homelessness for women, or the homelessness for people in general, but mainly women. The reason why I'm saying women, because that's who it's going to affect the most, women and children. So the homelessness for women and children, it's going to spike. It's going to spike. It's going to be a lot of women without houses, without homes, and especially women with children without a roof over their head and without stable, food, not having constant food. And a lot of it is, the prophecy spoke about it. Isaiah chapter 32, on down. But starting at verse 9. But a lot of women are about to experience things, life. They're about to experience just how hard it's finna get. They finna see just how hard it's finna get and how brainwashed they been into trusting in the government and not living under a man how they were supposed to. Isaiah 30. Isaiah chapter 31. Salakia, trusting in the government and not going away how Bashim Abishai ordained them to do. So like in the video that she was going into, the man was basically telling her, look, you have to do the things that a wife would do. If you're gonna be living with me, if that's how it is, if she's living with him, if she's living in his house. He said, look, if you're going to be living with me, you got to do the things that a wife would do. You can't just live here for free. And you got a child. You got a child as well. So you can't just live here for free and not do anything. Whatever the case may have been for you to get in that homeless situation, okay, cool, I help you out. But in the event of me helping you out, you still got to do things. Ain't no way you just going to live here for free. And otherwise, you could just go find somebody else to help you. So she agreed to that. Don't complain about it later. And like I said, it's finna be a lot of women in that situation. A lot of women finna find themselves not in the situation of staying with somebody else, but in a situation of homelessness. And it's gonna be up to the discretion of whoever they turn to for help if they decide to take them in. And those stipulations are definitely going to apply. Those stipulations are definitely gonna come. You gotta cook, you gotta clean. And a lot of women, they don't know how to cook. A lot of women don't know how to clean. A lot of women don't know how to wash clothes. They don't know how to really be a wife. Or they don't know how to do things that a woman should know how to do, you know? But a lot of things are about to be exposed and a lot of judgments about to be taking place. So, Lord willing, is an edifying lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Until next time, shalom.